So they were disappointed.
Okay.
Like, it just didn't make sense to them. Why is he doing that?
Yeah.
So then they decided not to call. But the little sister was the one that kept calling, like, why would you do that? But then eventually the mother decided to call and said, your father is not happy. He doesn't want to talk to you.
Okay.
And that's wherein he was broken.
Welcome to Tranquil Transformation, a podcast dedicated to exploring the profound journeys of change and growth in our lives. I'm Sharon, and I'm honored to guide you through these conversations where we delve deeply into the realities of life after divorce and the intricacies of marriage. In this episode, our goal is to explore the real events and experiences that make up the journey of marriage. We aim to highlight the beauty, strength, and resilience found within marital relationships by sharing genuine stories and insights and hope to inspire our listeners and provide hopeful perspectives.
Hi, my name is Sharon. Welcome to the podcast. The name of the podcast is Tranquil Transformation. And I am with this lovely couple. They're very famous, more famous than I am. I have been stalking them, and what a joy having to really following them. So we'll be sharing their story, their journey about marriage. The purpose of the podcast has been explained in the intro, and we'll be actually tapping into the life reality of what really happens in marriage. So just not to keep you suspended, my guests are here, and I'm just going to allow them to introduce themselves so that I don't do injustice to who they are. Welcome, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
What an honor to be here. I am Ndivho.
Yeah, thank you from my side as well. My name is Shudupazo, Shudu, or Pastor Bay on the YouTube streets. I have to mention that. Why are you rolling your eyes for now? Yeah, I am a street person, so it must be known, please.
I saw one of your videos where she's like, why are you calling yourself a street person?
Yeah, exactly. And I'm of the street, and I have to embrace it, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you for coming and also availing yourselves. I really bonded with you in Ndivho tea. I don't know why you're not mentioning the tea part. That's very important because I had some tea with you at our first introduction, and I just loved her. So I understand why you loved her at the beginning, right? I hope there was love somewhere.
Well, you'll never know, but I think she told me about your encounter, which was meant to be a studio viewing that turned out to be other things.
Yeah,
And,
it took, I think we were here for an hour long.
Yeah, more than an hour. And funny enough, she didn't get to see the studio because I didn't even show her the cameras, nothing.
Oh, my word. And here I am losing money, you know?
No, you were not losing money.
That's why she's back.
Exactly.
Okay, I know. Let's say it worked magic.
It did work.
And before I forget, we are really hosted by a lovely home called Saint Studios, and thank you for this lovely home. So yeah,
Who is Saint Studios?
they must look it up.
Okay, I know.
Must.
I want to
Please
find
do.
out about them
So
as
the
well.
information is down there. You can find them, follow them. It's a very incredible home. So if you need a place where you can host your podcast, I highly recommend Saint Studios. But anyway, we are here to hear about your journey in marriage. Just to untap a little bit about background, where did you guys meet? Like, tell us a little bit about how you guys met each other.
Storyteller. Go for it. Madam Storyteller.
I'm not a storyteller, and I don't like telling the story because he always says, she's lying. She's like, whenever he says something, it's not true. It's not true. But anyway, it's fine. I will do the storyteller because...
Just embrace it. Just say, I enjoy it. Pella,
I do enjoy it because I'm the one with the truth side of it.
Yay. And it sets you free.
Which one is the lie?
I get that they normally say that in each story, there is 3 sides of the story. In this case, there's yours, there's mine, and the truth. So I carry mine and the truth.
Okay.
And then you carry the other side. I don't know which one it is.
It's fine. Go for it.
So we met, I think, 14 years ago. Okay, so he normally gets the numbers right or the years right, but I think it was in 2010. Jeez. And I was going to church. I think it was my first time going to that church. I was following somebody and that somebody was not him.
Okay.
And then when I got there, I was looking very beautiful. Shame. Oh, brother just could not help it. I don't blame him. He was supposed to be welcoming people, ushering people to the presence of God.
Ooh, Pastor Bay.
Pastor B was supposed to be ushering people. And when I got there, the brother just started speaking some big words in English, and Nami on the other side, English was not really my language. And I was just like, yo, this guy. Like, I was just mesmerized by that English because I didn't even understand big words. He took my handbag. I don't know if he said, let me carry your handbag. I didn't understand. He took my handbag. I was like, okay, I guess he's saying I must follow him. I just followed. He took me there in front with my cleavage. And I just said, because I'm thinking he's saying that I must sit down. I said, and he was wearing... he was wearing star white pants, white
She's not meaning that in a good way. Just
He was
take
not looking
note.
good.
I'm also not laughing.
He was not
I was
looking
looking good at the time.
No,
Ah,
he
yeah,
thought
yeah,
he
yeah.
was.
Okay.
You know what he was wearing? It was like white pants with some pockets and then white shirt and a pullover on
That
top.
was my best outfit. Hey.
That was not... It was your best, but it was not the best at that time.
It was the best at that time.
But you were still triggered
No, I was just...
or intrigued. Let me just put
By
it
his
that way.
English, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, only by the English, but no. The other stuff, no.
And I mean, like, I've been to church. I haven't seen an usher carry my bag.
Yeah, that
So
was
you got welcomed,
Yes,
eh?
I really got welcomed, Shem. I don't want to lie. And I was even confused because it was my first time going to that church. So even when he was accompanying me there, then I said, I felt special. And then after that, they announced that there was a netball team, Tontoni. I joined. And, Brother Bay was there as well. And then they said they wanted sponsor, and he was like, I'm the sponsor. So he sponsored it with a tip. Like, he was just there. He was just involved. And then I wore some short netball stuff. I was there catching the ball, and he was just looking at me. And then the rest is history.
You are very passionate about this story your way. Like, you are very, very passionate. Like, one wouldn't tell that you did not even want, or you said you don't like telling it. The way you're passionate about it, but it's fine.
Was there any lies detected on my story?
Anything that she
No,
left
it's
out.
just that everything that you say, it's always exaggerated. Like, you put passion in it such that it feels like it's a lie when it's actually the truth. But it's fine.
Yeah, so he made sure that he wins my heart. Even when they said netball team meeting, he was there at the meeting. I don't know what he was doing because it was a girls' thing. It was a netball. It was not soccer team. It was netball, but he was there.
He was sponsoring.
Yeah, he was sponsoring Shem, and he also sponsored my heart in that way.
Yeah.
And then we started dating. 4 months later, I remember there was a time when we were dating, and I think at that time I was just not feeling the relationship, and I think I said I'm dumping him.
4
And then,
months?
yeah, he called his mother and he said, I'm in a relationship. I think he wanted to prove that I'm in love. I love you. He called his mother and said, I'm in a relationship with this girl. I was like, oh, Shem, he's serious. And as if that was not enough, he's like, okay, I want to engage you. He bought a ring. He did an engagement party. Everybody was there at church. He engaged me. And then 4 months later, again, after that engagement, he was like, no, let's just get married.
Oh, okay. In 4 months.
4 months after the engagement. Remember, it took 4 months
Was
after.
it me who said we must just get married?
You throw in the word, baby, remember? You said, let's get married.
idea.
Yeah. And then I was like, this guy, what does he take me for in my mind? And then after that at church, they called us. And then they said, we hear that you guys are staying together. We're not doing fat and safe. That was like
okay.
now 8
Alright.
months. Remember?
Yeah.
It was 4 months to get engaged. Now, we were now staying together. Now, it means that we had been dating for 8 months.
Yeah.
And when at church, rumor had it that we are now staying together. We are doing fat and set.
Okay.
At this time, Nami, I'm now into the leadership of something at church because
I mean, you started with netball. You need to be promoted.
you need to be promoted. Now, Brother Bay has been promoted. He's no longer on to the leadership of ushering. He's now on to the pastor something. Now I've taken over the ushering. I'm now the leader of the ushering. So now they call us and say, now that you are into the leadership, you can now be staying together. And you're not married. You are setting a very bad example, which was fair.
Okay.
And then they said, come back next week with a decision. We either cut you off from those roles,
Yeah.
or you guys just separate. You stay in separate places. You get your own room, he gets his own room. And then we get home, and then we now talk about getting married. And then he then says, babe, when I go to work, you go to Home Affairs.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And then, do you want to take over?
I don't even know. I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, it's new news to me.
okay. And then I go to Home Affairs, and then when I got there, they gave me a date on Tuesday. I went there on Monday, then they gave me a date on Tuesday. They say, you just come with 2 witnesses. I'm like, oh, bingo.
it's that easy?
It's that easy. They say, come
Okay.
back with 70 rand for the marriage certificate and 2 witnesses. I'm like, okay, I've got friends. I've got Grace. I've got Mom Ruby. I called my friends. Friends, can you come tomorrow? They're like, okay, cool. Can you take a leave at work? He's like, cool. And then come the day, we are walking from Pretoria, Acadia, going to Pretoria Central to Home Affairs. But I could see my brother is like, I think he's now thinking twice.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, I'm excited.
Okay.
I'm finally going to get married. I'm
Yeah.
going to be somebody's wife.
Yeah.
And then I remember I said, babe, they said we must come with those small pictures, the ID pictures. And he's like, yeah, you go ahead. I'll take the pictures. I'm like, babe, you can't take pictures on my behalf. I also need to be there.
You know?
But I had an idea. I got a feeling that he wants to run away. But I was like, I'm going to be the sweetest person ever.
Yeah.
If he thinks I'm going to fight,
I'm
he
not
must
doing
think
this.
I'm,
Not
I'm going to
today.
fight after.
Not on my wedding day.
No, not on my. There's no way. There's no way. I waited with him patiently. We took pictures. We went there. Even when we got there, like even our one of our witnesses was busy asking questions. Other people were, am I gonna get in trouble if I sign with these people? If I become a witness of these people? And someone was like, yeah, you're gonna get in trouble. And someone was like, you see, this thing is I don't think it's right. Maybe let's go back. I'm like, no, we're not going back.
Okay.
We're already here. We're doing this.
Yeah.
We got in, and then, do you take Ndivhu as your wife? Even the person was drunk, the one that was officiating the marriage, but he prayed for us. Got us gave us a marriage certificate. Come Sunday now, now they call us at church. Now tell us the decision. Are we cutting you on the leadership Ntontoni, or are you guys going to get your own rooms?
Yeah.
And we're like, ta-da.
You're too late.
You don't have to do that. We made
Too
your job
late.
easier. We are now married.
Okay.
And
All
they're like,
right.
"What?" And they were angry. And we did not understand. Why are you angry? Like we thought you'd be proud of us.
These are good news.
Yeah, and they're like, does your mom know? Does your parent know? We're like, no. Like, how? Like they were puzzled. Like, what's happening? Babe, take over.
Hey. Hey, where do I start? I'm having a bit of issue with my throat.
The throat. Yeah.
Oh, sorry
So,
about that.
but I think immediately after the parents, I think the pastors called the parents. The parents then, but this story you like telling it, but
It's fine.
like,
Babe, I was just doing you a favor. I can take over.
yes, yes. the thing is, I'll end up saying things that are true on my side that she doesn't agree with, and she'll be opposing the whole time.
I
But-
mean, can we get the truth? It sets you free. You'll
Yes.
feel liberated after this. We need this.
Okay, the thing is, I'm not a good storyteller. So I like talking a lot, but I'm not a
Yeah.
good storyteller. But I
Yeah.
think after the parents, the pastors at church called the parents decided that this one was going to go home to go and explain. From my side, obviously, okay, my mom just called and find out what's happening. You
Hey,
know?
baby, you're missing the juicy part. My mom called on a Monday. Ne?
Okay.
And then she says,
Sorry, Pastor Faye.
I'm sorry, babe.
That's why we have helpers in
Yes.
life.
I
And
guess
God knew you're going to need helpers. But you guys, you've got 2 helpers, the Holy Spirit and you.
Yes. That's how
Like
much you
God-
need the
that's,
help.
that's how much you need the help. My mom calls, Ndivhu, are you married? I'm like, what? Wait, I can
Shame,
explain.
mommy.
Are you married? And I'm like, yes or no? Then I said yes. And she's like, pack your bags and leave and come back home. I was 19 when that happened.
Okay.
He was 21. And now he's there waiting for the phone call. His phone call didn't come through. And now I had to pack my bags and go home in Venda. Remember, we're in Pretoria.
Yeah.
We all came this side to study.
Yeah.
I packed my bags and I went to Venda.
Now you're coming back with a marriage certificate.
Yeah. I was supposed to go home with a degree.
Oh, wow. Still a
But I came back with a
certificate.
better one.
It's still a certificate.
Yeah, it's still a certificate. So I went back home. My mom was an easy one. I'm like, Mom, I'm securing my future here. This guy, I think he's going to be rich one day. He was
Netball
not-
sponsor.
Yeah, he sponsors team. I mean, I think, and I couldn't even say he's rich. He was not rich. I think he's going to be rich.
Yeah.
I think he's going to
Yeah.
be a millionaire one day. I think he's just like, nah, I think so as well, baby. It's okay. You can go back to Pretoria. But that's how easy it was for me. I even came back with my brother this side to come and visit.
Okay.
So I come back. He's still waiting for the phone call. Now, nothing on his side. And he can't even call them to say, have you heard? Or, then the little sister calls, Shudu, we heard that you are married. Is it true? And he's like, yes. And she's like, they are telling everybody at home. He comes from, how can I put it? So I come from a broken family. Like my family, they don't care. They're just one of those, And he comes from a very good family. Like they are united, husband and wife, a lot of siblings, all that. So they were disappointed.
Okay.
Like it just didn't make sense to them. Why is he doing that?
Yeah.
So then they decided not to call. But the little sister was the one that kept calling, like, why would you do that? But then eventually the mother decided to call and said, your father is not happy. He doesn't want to talk to you.
Okay.
And that's wherein he was broken. It was a lot on his side. But to cut the long story short, the father disowned him.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. He tried to buy gifts on Father's Day, write letters, try to get the siblings to speak to him. He didn't want to hear none of that. And I remember there was a time when now the mother calls and say, for us to maybe kind of reach an agreement, is it possible that Ndivhu can just go back home and then we try to do things the right way? And Shem, he says, no.
Okay.
We are now already married. The only thing that we can try do is to just move from this point where we are. But we can't restart everything. And they're like, there's nothing we can do. And he was about to graduate. And obviously he wanted them to be proud. It's his first qualification. And they said, we're not going to come to your graduation. We're done with you. And we're not going to attend your graduation. He's like, it's okay. Ndivhu is my family. You would swear I fed him love potion.
Who knows?
No, vele. Nani, if he was my son, I would have felt it.
They don't go around shouting everywhere. But I gave you Corobela.
We don't announce.
No,
Otherwise, it's
Nani,
not
when I
gonna
look
work.
back, I'm like, maybe I did it.
And when we tell them that we did, they don't take us serious.
They don't.
So we're like,
So,
okay.
Believe whatever you want to say, but I know that it worked.
Yeah. And it's still working.
Yeah, and it's still working for 14 years later. So, but fortunately, by the grace of God, I think few months later, I think his mom, being a mom, she wanted to be part of his graduation because they struggled with him being at school financially, so taking him to school and everything. She just didn't want to miss it.
Yeah.
So she decided to come this side in Pretoria with the older sisters, and that's where they got to actually officially meet me as his wife, and they loved me.
Look at the turnaround.
Yeah, they loved me, and from that day, everything changed.
Yeah.
And eventually, we started doing things the right way, and we had our wedding day 2 years later after our marriage.
Yeah.
20 minutes later.
20 minutes later. Well, it doesn't matter. We needed the details.
And I enjoy telling the story.
And I enjoyed listening to listening to it.
Oh, my.
But it's amazing in terms of the events that took place. I mean, first of all, it was church. I'm sure they had their own expectations. When you came back and you just announced, okay, we're married, I'm sure it was not your expectations were not how they reacted were not part of your expectations.
No.
You were hoping that, okay, yay.
They were going to celebrate.
You know, and they also had their own expectations in terms of you guys should get married and so forth. When that happened, did it change? Okay, first of all, let me just ask, what is marriage to you guys?
Yeah, it's a question I love to answer. Now you're coming to my territory
Okay.
now.
Hit it.
You were very far away from my territory. Now you're playing in my level field, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, marriage is commitment, right? I always say that when you don't have anything else, when you are married to someone, at least let commitment hold your marriage. Because when you choose someone, you commit yourself to that person, right? Obviously, committing to someone, it means that you will go through a lot of challenges. It's going to be a roller coaster. There will be good days, there will be bad days. So for me, it comes down to commitment. When I don't feel like I love this person, when I don't feel like this person is enough for me, when I feel like they've done me wrong or I cannot continue with this person, but then I remember the commitment that I've made to the person, and that's what carries me on a daily basis, knowing that I'm committed to this person, I'm committed to my family, to ensure that at the end of the day, we sustain this thing that we have decided both of us to tap into. I guess that's why even in a wedding, for instance, or when you get married, whether it's home affairs or whatever the case is.
With a drunk pastor
Exactly.
or officiator.
Yeah, exactly. Even if he's drunk, he still asks, do you take this person, right?
Of course.
In other words, it has to be you who's saying it. You're committing to doing that. It's not somebody else that says on your behalf that, yes, I do, It has to be you that is saying it to show that you're committed to this person. And for me, that's what is going to carry your marriage for good, So I'd say marriage, commitment.
Okay, commitment.
Yeah.
And you, Ndivho?
I would definitely describe as that. Just committing to that person. And I would say that's also how I describe love. It's every day choosing the same person, whether you feel like you are in love with them or not, but committing to the same person every single day. Sometimes you look at them and you're like, hey, Nami, what was I thinking? But you're like, that commitment, that day that I said I do, for better, for worse. So even when it's for the worse, you still say, I choose them, because you remember the commitment that you made. Yeah.
Do you feel like it becomes easier when you are committing to the right person?
Is there a right person though?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
You tell me.
I don't believe in a right person, right?
Yeah.
I believe in you choosing a specific person and then you make them right for you. Because I don't think there's anybody that is tailored when God is creating and it's like, I'm creating this person. Yes, the Bible says that in some forms or ways, but then again, when you meet a person, you have to tailor them to what you want. That's why at the end of the day, you go and tell them, well, I don't like this, I like that. They have to then adapt to that which you want them to do or your expectation in that regard. So that's you tailoring the person to be what you want exactly, right? So I don't believe in something called the right person for you. You have to decide that this is the right person for me and I'm going to make them work for me based on what I want. Because if you start looking for the right person, I'm telling you, the chances that you will find the specific person, the right person that meets all your expectation, I'm telling you, it's very slim. So for me, I say, look for a person that you believe this one we can build together, this one I can be committed to, this one is willing to commit to me. It does not mean that they're not going to hurt you. It does not mean that they're not going to make you sad or angry. But the mere fact is that you are willing to do it with them. Because in as much as they're going to make you angry, in as much as they're going to make you sad, you are definitely going to do the same thing to them.
Yeah.
So does it make you a wrong person for the right person? There's no such, So for me, I say, both of you are right for each other as long as you're willing to make it work.
Yeah. The problem is if you are with a person that is not willing,
Yeah, I wanted to get into that part.
to love you the way that you want to be loved.
Yeah.
But if both of us are willing to meet each other halfway, then we can be right for each other.
Okay, so there must be a willingness as a
Yes.
drive, okay, to the commitment.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go a little bit back because I find your story very interesting. So at the time when you guys both decided that you're going to get married, you're going to home affairs, there's a roller coaster emotions taking place. Are you excited? I'm not sure if she was telling the truth where she felt that she had some doubts. Did you still have the same concept of what marriage is?
I don't think I understood what marriage is. Honestly,
Yeah.
to be honest, I don't think I knew exactly. For me, marriage was just getting to be with a specific person, and biblically, you're able to exercise your marriage rights in terms of sexual and all those things. So there was that aspect of it that was ringing in my head.
A license.
Yeah, exactly. Because every time, let's say, you have sexual intimacy with someone, as a Christian, then that keeps on being a bang in your head, the guilt, So it keeps on, it stays in your mind. So for me, that was a solution to get married. But I fail to understand, like, the commitment that I'm talking to you about is the commitment that I learned along the way. It's things that I got to learn along the way. What is marriage? How should a married person behave? What is the expectation from a married person? All those things. And I didn't have that understanding. So I would say that clearly so, that I had no knowledge of what marriage is. And even in my moments of being scared, it was being scared of being committed to this person. It was being scared of being tied, because I believe that I was getting to my brighter, like I was starting
you
to
just
experience my
graduated.
exactly, and I can foresee the future.
She saw the future too.
Exactly, but I'm like, hey, I'm starting to work. At the time, I was working for Ford Motor Company.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to be getting all these fancy cars, and I'm going to start getting noticed. So it was that time when things were starting to look up. So I started thinking of that, and I'm like, do I really want to go ahead with this? Do I want to be tied down at a point where now, when you're still young, you're still chasing after ladies, you're doing all those things.
Yeah.
Some of them turn a blind eye because they can see, good to low, there's nothing here, But now that I'm just getting a ticket, and I'm starting to, I'm tying myself down. So for me, it was a big regret at that point, because even the understanding of marriage I did not have.
At
I've
all.
thought of that week before. Why are you thinking of it
But
on
it was
my way
just, there was
day?
just too much
It was
pressure.
real
There's a
now.
lot
It was
taking
real.
place. And a whole lot of emotions. Eh?
Exactly.
With that said, with those questions ringing in your head, because obviously I believe that from the word go, if you decide that you want to get married, you were challenged there. Because you declared it, and the devil, I'm sure, he was not really happy. Hence why you had to go through the challenges with family and so forth. If people are, because right now I believe that the vision or the image that God has regarding marriage is a little bit tinted, not a little bit. I think it's tinted, but in a bad way, where people really have no interest in committing to that level. They rather just be dating for years and so forth. But in terms of having to commit, it scares them a lot because of experiences from people and what they experienced and so forth. Different circumstances for different people. But if you were to advise somebody who wants to get married, they have just a little bit of an image of some beauty in it that God has about marriage. Would you still advise them with your journey that they have to get to know the person first, live with the person? How would you advise them to go about this whole thing?
I'll let you start, because this is, I know your answer, so continue.
You'll be surprised, eh?
Really? Okay.
Okay, I don't believe in getting to know a person because I believe that a person changes. My husband has changed. He is not the person that I met. I've also changed. For example, when he met me, I was not an ambitious person. Growing up, my dream was to become a housewife.
Okay.
Maybe that's why when he mentioned let's get married, I was like,
Yeah.
God, I thank you.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. I don't have to worry about school. I don't have to worry about getting a job. I'm just going to be a housewife.
Yeah.
But then now I'm a businesswoman. One day I woke up and I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And now he had to now adjust to the new me and everything. The colors that I liked back then, I don't like them anymore. The food that I used to like, I don't like them anymore. The kind of person that I was, I'm not that person anymore. There are so many things that I'm like, I wake up and I'm like, go well, is this you? So I think you can never know a person. That's why people can date for 10 years, get married 1 year later, they're divorced.
Yeah.
I only knew him for 8 months. I married him 14 years, we're still here. 14 years later, we're still here. Not because it has been a smooth road. No, I've packed my bags so many times.
Don't repack.
So many times. He has helped me pack my bags, load them in the car, helped me unpack them to a point where he got tired of packing with me. He's like, just pack, it's okay.
Yeah.
Just pack, you unpack them when I go back to work.
Yeah.
So I feel like there's no memorandum. Honestly speaking, there is no memorandum. You can take your time. You don't have to take your time. If it's going to work, it's going to work. If you want it to work, it will work.
Yeah.
Like, there's just no memorandum. So taking time, not taking time, Just do
Yeah.
whatever that you feel will work for you.
Yeah. And when Pastor B, like, when did you know that this is the woman that I want? What happened? Did the Holy Spirit speak to you?
No, I'd be lying about the Holy Spirit. I'm
Was
not.
Alani?
I
I heard God.
I don't know if the Holy Spirit was using the cleavage at that time, but I don't think it ever came to a point where I'm like,
I'm gonna get the
that's-
outfits when I'm going to church.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. But I don't think it just something just told me to go for it, you know. And at that time, I was fighting an internal battle in terms of wanting to do the right thing, wanting to be an upright man. I believe in. I've always had this calling of wanting to be like a preacher or a pastor, you know. And I that was in battling inside to say, but you can't be doing the things that you're doing and still be, let's say, be a pastor or preaching in church. So I was fighting that battle. So I was looking to settle down at that time to say, let me settle down, let me find someone. And she came at the right time, and I felt like she's the right person for me. But damn, I didn't see what was coming all throughout. Like, this person is challenging. Like,
Wow.
I am telling you the truth. That this person is challenging. Yeah. I've never walked in the yard of the company, not knowing why I'm walking around the company. You know, when you're walking around the building of the company, but you don't know what is the reason behind it. And the
You're
only
one of
thing,
those.
exactly. And
Yeah.
the only thing I can say is that, like, walking around the building, you know, because it was very, very
I'm
challenging.
not that bad.
Ah, you are. Well, at the end of the day, you know, in as much as I'm also like I believe I've got my good side, but I also have my bad side. You know, that it's somebody else may not be able to tolerate. You know, but so in as much as everybody has a good side, they also have a bad side. So I think I knew that there is the good that I wanted to work with, and this is the person that I felt was right for me, that was challenging me in a bad way and also in a good way.
Yeah.
You know, so I just felt something told me that I should go for it.
Yeah.
Biggest mistake of your life. Eh?
I think so.
You can say that again. Oh my word!
Unfortunately, you stuck with me, Baba.
You got no choice, eh?
Hey,
But I like how you're putting it, that you knew what you wanted. You kind of understood what is your journey as an individual, and you decided to position yourself for that right thing. And then by the time when you positioned yourself, that's when the right thing came.
yeah.
Am I interpreting it right?
Yeah, in a way, I think it felt like the right decision at that time. But obviously, young, not understanding what marriage is, not knowing what I'm doing at that stage, I still have a lot of maturity to go through. Unfortunately, it had a lot of learning experience that was not so good in terms of growing into the marriage life, growing into like the pastoral life that I wanted for myself. And I got to a stage where at some point in time, it was looking up, right? In terms of me heading the direction that I wanted to go to, in terms of being a pastor, in terms of being like a what do you call the intercessor? Like all those things, it was looking up. But unfortunately, my lifestyle was not speaking to that because I still needed to grow. Yet I felt like this is the right decision. But it was the right decision in terms of having someone, but there were so many aspects of my life that were not in order, that needed a lot of fixing, that needed a lot of working on, that needed growth and maturity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Very interesting. So you might know where you're heading, but also you need to check yourself.
Yeah.
Am I ready for it? What can I
Correct.
remove? Okay. All right.
So to answer your question about whether I can tell someone else to get married, like you have to be sure that this is what I want to do. And I want to spend my life trying to please the other person. Because pretty much that's what you do when you get married. you live your life for the other person. Like, it's not longer just about me and what I want. Yes, I'm for individuality even when you're married, but it's not just about that. You know, you can still you can still be an individual in a marriage, but you don't make a mistake. You will still have to do or put a shift to ensure that the other person is happy. When she said, I can't just sit and say, no, life goes on, you know? At some point, I can do that maybe for 2 days or 3 days or even a week or whatever the case is. But there'll come a point where I need to say, Uri, no, life has to go on, but I have to go back to reality and fix whatever that needs to be fixed. So you have to do whatever it takes for the other person. And for me, for one to be able to do that, you have to tell yourself that this is the journey that I'm going to walk. The journey of commitment for me is the hardest journey that you can ever walk on, because you sacrifice what you want, what you believe, what you feel is right for you. You know, your feelings, you sacrifice them, your emotions, you sacrifice them so that the other person can be happy. The other person's happiness depends on you. You know, you carry the other person's happiness.
Yeah.
Like, it depends on you, like literally, because if I decide that I'm going to be swearing at her every single day, do you think she's going to be happy?
No.
But who's responsible for for her being said? It's me, you know? So I'm carrying pretty much the happiness. If I make her happy, then both of us are the likelihood is that we are going to be happy. Yes, there's some contributions that I need to put in on my side, but I have her happiness, she has mine.
Yeah. That's a very nice way how you're putting it, eh? Like, I never thought that we carry so much responsibility when it comes to a person.
So much.
and all under a commitment that we chose.
Exactly.
Okay?
But you choose, right?
Yeah,
you can decide that her happiness is not on me.
That's true.
Then you live your life, she lives hers.
Yeah.
Like, you are cohabiting in a way, because like cohabiting in a sense of we are just deciding to do this thing, but it's not particularly what we both want. We are just doing it because we are on a journey, but it's not what we want. But if you're saying that this is the person I'm choosing, then it means that you're going to put your effort to ensure that this person is happy.
And you need to be ready for that.
Correct.
Okay, so if you're not ready, you don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Because that's where a lot of people are failing. Because if things get hard tomorrow, right, there are two options. You either fight for it or you fly, right? There are two ways around it. When it gets hard, you have to choose that, do I stay or do I continue, right? And you have to make that decision almost on a daily basis. How many times are we fighting? How many times are we disagreeing? But you can't, every single disagreement, when you want to run away.
Yeah.
And it has to come with the character and the personality to want to build. So that's the commitment that you tell yourself, that this is what I'm going to do.
That's a very interesting one. If I was interested in marriage, that sounded very tough.
No,
I would really have to think about it. Like, hey,
I
Sharon,
guess
you really
so.
want to do
I
this?
guess so. I guess.
But I guess that's the important part of, I always say that before you get married, go for premarital counseling.
Yeah.
I think these are the stuff that needs to be discussed.
Okay.
It's just unfortunate that even if you advise a person to, because normally, if a person comes to me and say, I want to get married, and I'm brutally honest, I will tell you what I've experienced. And normally they will say, nah, I don't think I'll have this kind of challenges in my marriage. They will only come back after 6 months like, hey, I think you're right. How did you handle that? No, but this is like, when you know what to expect, it's easier to kind of like tackle those issues.
That's
You are
true.
actually able to see them before they even happen, or I think then you are able to tackle them. But if you enter without even knowing what to expect, people think that marriage is just honeymoon. It's full of challenges. If a mother and daughter, siblings and everything, they're still fighting even years later. What about you and a stranger?
That's true.
There is no way you're
That's
going to have
true.
so many challenges.
Yeah.
You literally have to share everything. Finances, you share a bed, you literally share everything. When one wakes up and they are moody, the first thing that you're going to think, did I do something wrong? But we were just happy last night. What did I do? Now your mood is going to change.
That's
because now you
true.
are thinking, what have I done? Why are
Yeah.
you like this? And if they can't even communicate, now your mood, the whole house is just like that.
Yeah.
When kids are waking up, their mood also is going to change because
Yeah.
mommy and daddy are not happy. The kids are not happy because what? You can't communicate. But such things could have been resolved, or you could have known how to deal with those things before you even get married through premarital counseling. Yeah.
Oh, that's one of the tools that one can consider. But so now I keep on hearing challenges. What was the main real event that took place that was a challenge for your marriage?
For our marriage, oh my word. I think we've had so many, and of different kinds, right? And I think I'd say growth from my side. I think maturity, and the world.
Are you able to mention one? We want the tea.
I didn't want to mention.
We want you to be human.
But I'd say infidelity was the biggest one. I think that's what has challenged us the most. I think throughout the years, and it's something that we are still coming out from in terms of growth and normalizing and forgiveness and all those things. So I'd say that's pretty much that, without getting into too much details, but I'd say that's what I believe we have gone through, that we still are trying to recover from and trying to move past and look forward and obviously grow from it.
That's very big of you guys, eh? So forgiveness played a big role in there.
Yeah, I'd say, hey, we wouldn't be sitting here if it wasn't
was
for
not for
forgiveness.
Yeah.
I think forgiveness has played a very, very big role, to such an extent that, like, this is the stuff that I was talking about in the beginning when I say that if you're not willing to do this kind of things, and I'm not saying that people are forced to forgive, infidelity or anything like that. But my point was that regardless of the type of challenge that you go through, you must be willing to go through such things, and not particularly this one in particular, but different challenges that will test you to the utmost best, and you need to be willing to go out of it. You need to be willing to carry the cross and basically go through it the best way you know how, And you can never be ready for this kind of things. That's the worst part of it. You can never sit down and say, I'm planning, I'm going to feel like this when I go through this challenge. You can never say that. It's only when you are in the situation that it tests you. It tests your character. It tests what kind of a person are you? How strong are you? Can you forgive? Can you move past this challenge? And that's just one of them. There are many other challenges that people are going through, physical abuse, all these things, emotional abuse. Like, it's things that are happening, financial abuse. It's things that are happening that you can never prepare yourself for them up until you're in there, and then it tests your character. Like, for me, I say that marriage will refine you like gold, if I were to put it that way.
At the highest temperature ever.
A very highest temperature.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
Jeez. And what damages does it bring?
Damages, like, you pretty much have to live in that moment for the rest of your life.
Okay.
Like, watch your steps, watch what you do, watch what you say.
Even when you know you're forgiven.
Exactly. Like, you cannot go past that. Maybe at some point, because we are still young, we still have so many years ahead, maybe we'll come to a point wherein it feels better. I don't know, right? Because like I said, you can never plan for the future. But at this stage, it's still a constant struggle. Like, you have to live in the moment. You have to be to always live in the forgiveness era, wherein you constantly have to be forgiving. You constantly have to be minding how the other person would feel, even if it's as honest as possible, right? But you have to consider the feelings of the other person. In a normal situation, you consider the feelings, but at the end of the day, you can literally do something and it does not harm the same way wherein the damage has occurred.
Yeah. Sure. That's very... Literally, you're carrying the cross, eh?
Pretty
Literally.
much.
Unfortunately.
Literally. It's not only all about you.
Correct.
Yeah, it's for what you actually committed to. Yeah. And then in terms of conflicts, how do you guys resolve conflict?
Yo, my God.
I'm sure
I'll
you've got
leave it to
experience
You
you.
don't
little
have to
bit.
make so much noise.
That one I'll leave it up to you. That's the,
Yeah.
hey, yeah, no.
We don't have formula, right? What works today might not may not work tomorrow. Today we can fight, and then I just come and say, "Do you miss me?" And we'll be like, "Yay," and then we're good. And tomorrow, he can come and say, "Do you miss me?" I'm the one that will be like, "Miss you for what?"
Oh, Ndivho.
Like, miss you for what? Like, I
Yeah.
want you to go down on your knees,
Yeah.
apologize, say all the nice things, buy
Yeah.
me something, and. So we don't have formula, but our fights are not so hectic. I think I'm the problem.
I agree.
Yeah, when it comes to
Oh
problems,
my
like
God.
shame, and
That's very big of you.
If your mother was still here, I'd tell her what a problem you handed over to me.
she knows.
They all know it. They all know.
Ah.
And they feel so sorry for you guys.
No, I feel for him because he looks so sad.
Yeah.
Like when we fight him, I think it's because besides me, he doesn't have a life. So he sits on this corner on a couch that he likes. He just sits like this. And he's even scared to come to the bed. Like he will sit there maybe until 3 a.m. Even when he comes to the bed, it's like you can see he's tiptoeing. He wants to make sure that I don't hear him. It's like if I hear him, I'm gonna wake up and say, "Hey, what are you doing here?"
Yo,
Like,
that's
he will
my
sit by
wife.
the corner,
That's my
like,
wife's
I'm
nightmare.
already scared of you.
and I'm like, yeah, he better be scared. I don't think you should hurt me and sleep comfortably. You cannot afford to sleep and snore and have good dreams when I'm not happy.
And I don't sleep, chef.
No, you can't.
I don't sleep.
Why are you happy? Why are you,
Exactly.
like I tell him, even if we fight and he's watching soccer and he's smiling, he's chatting. No, you can't. It makes me more angry.
Okay.
Why are you happy when I'm
So we
not
don't
happy?
have a formula.
We don't have-
We don't have a formula.
Like,
And
you
we
know-
fight about everything.
Yeah, we fight about everything.
Okay.
Like,
why is the sun
literally-
out?
Literally, today we were painting here.
Yeah.
We fought about the painting. One was saying, "No, we
Put
can't
another
paint."
coat, and
Yeah.
he says no.
Yeah.
And you know what, why I was angry because he was struggling with a small brush. I volunteered to say, let me rush to go buy another one, a bigger one, to make his life easier. I go to the shop that he said I must go to. I didn't find it. I'm like, I can't go back without the one that he wants because I want to make him happy.
Yeah.
I drive all the way to the other hardware store. I come back, he's like, no, we're not going to do it now. What do you mean? I drove all the way there. You know, he's like, no, the client is coming now. I'm not concerned about the client at
Yeah,
this point.
yeah.
You have to use the one that I bought.
Yes.
I struggle to get it. He's like, no, but I have to, but I'm not concerned about buffing. I just want to see you using that brush that I bought.
So you see, it's things like that you wonder, can people really fight about those things? And we are going to the customers. Customers are coming like,
Yeah, but use the brush. Like, even if you just did like
No,
this,
please just do something with a brush.
use it. Use it.
so I think you
Yes.
never get past the conflict era. Okay,
Yeah.
maybe other people do. I like to always not be stereotype and describe my marriage as other people's marriage. But for us, I don't think we'll I just look at it. I don't think we'll ever come to a point wherein we just run smooth, you know?
Okay. No.
Because we disagree about so many things. And we personalize things. Like it's personal, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Even when we are fighting about something, it's very
Yeah.
personal. But at the end of the day, the good thing is that when we are happy, we are truly happy. Like very happy that you would even be shocked that these people do fight. And
Yeah.
most people that see us, especially on YouTube, they think like we have happy days all the time.
Yeah.
We can literally go fight before we go and shoot. And you can tell, okay, you can't really tell, but if you are very you notice things, right? You would see that these people, there's something here off. But the point is that we mostly fighting about so many things, but we try and be as happy as we possibly can be.
Yeah, very interesting. And then in terms of, we're talking about conflicts and we're talking about the hardships in marriage. I'm still very triggered in the realities of it, but I also want to get into this one. How do you purposely try and make his day much better? How do you, is there a certain thing that you know that it will make his day?
I know it, but let me leave it to you.
What is it?
Let me
No,
leave it
what
to you.
what he wants is just to see me happy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all he wants. Like he just, am I lying?
I know, true.
Yeah, he just wants to see me happy. If he comes back from work and I'm sad, I've ruined his day. He loves being happy. That's it. He just wants to see me happy. Like Jay, seeing me happy makes him happy. That's it.
Yeah, for me, happiness is the it.
Yeah.
You know, as long as I'm in a happy environment, like if I'm not in a happy environment, you would see me that something is off. So as long as she's happy, as long as everyone is happy around me, I don't want stress,
Yeah.
and I don't do well in a stressful environment.
Yeah.
That's why I said when we fight, he will just sit in a corner and he'll just be like this. Yeah.
And I don't talk to anyone.
And he doesn't talk to anybody.
I could imagine how cold.
Yeah, and he will just
can be.
text, I miss you. Do you miss me? And I just put the phone away. Yeah.
When the devil is operating.
Who's more stubborn?
He's stubborn. He's very, very stubborn.
But for him to even text, I miss you, takes a
No,
lot.
I'm very stubborn.
Yeah.
Very,
He's
very stubborn.
Okay.
Very stubborn. I think she has her level of stubbornness, and I think hers is intentional. But I think mine is just, I don't just agree to anything. You
Yeah.
know? So, and it's very difficult for me to come to you and say I'm sorry. Or even if I will do it, but it takes a lot of effort. It takes guts for me to do
He
it.
will say it after he has revived you, he's done, like he has mesmerized you.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
I miss you. And I'm like, okay. That's why I'll just throw my phone away. Because already he has said whatever that he wants us to say. He has
Yeah.
already hurt me.
Yeah.
Now he's bored. Now he's missing me.
Now he's bored.
Yeah, he wants somebody to watch movies with. Because Zakari doesn't have friends.
He doesn't have a life.
He doesn't have a life because like our lives.
Yeah.
We don't go in. We don't have friends.
Yeah.
It's or like especially on weekends. It's just us. We don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
So if he's not with me, he's by the corner of the couch like this. So he's missing me. I know he's
Texting,
going
I
to
miss you. But so what were the lessons behind? I mean, your marriage didn't start easy, I believe, especially in terms of also being disowned. And then I can also see the stubbornness there when you were saying, when they were asking, let's do things properly, and you refused to, like, nope. We've already started the process. But how was that journey? Like, and also as his partner having to walk through the journey with him.
Yeah, I think life teaches you a lot of things, and you grow. It gives you strength. Like certain situations that you go through, they build character out of you, and even without realizing it, that character is being built out of you. You get to be stronger in certain situations and being able to withstand certain things that will come ahead. I'm a firm believer that when you go through something today, it's preparing you for tomorrow. Whatever that you're going through, you might not realize it, but the way in which life is built, it's more like you're going through a step ladder or like stairs, you know. Like the more you go up, it's more like it's preparing you for the like if you take a smaller step, it's so that you can be able to take the next two, you know. Like that's how it's going in life. You keep on the steps that you have taken in the past are the steps that will carry you to be able to go up. And the higher you go, the harder it also becomes. You know, challenges, like you won't believe it, or you will believe it that when you're still 2 years old, the challenges that you had then were enough for a 2-year-old. You did not need to think about what am I going to cook, what am I going to eat, you know. So they were enough for that point. But even that, not knowing how to cook and playing with toys and stuff like that, it was preparing you for the next levels in your life, right? Yeah. So the same applies to any other situation that I went through, the being disowned, you know, because I have dealt with situations with my family that, like down a few years down the line, I needed to withstand and stand my ground, you know, and stand the ground of my family to protect my family and say, this is not going to happen, you know. I stand with my family. I side with my family. But that was leading me to be able to stay strong even in those situations. So in the journey of marriage, all the things that I've went through, some of the bad things that I've done, some of the mistakes that I've made, they were for me to be able to withstand today, for me to be able to look back and say, I learned something. Had I not gone through that, I would not be where I am.
Very interesting, eh? Very interesting. So this is how you took the disowning.
That's at least then it was painful. But when you look back, then you see why was I going through that moment?
What
you
did
know?
you see? Why?
What do you mean? As in,
What did you see? What was the revelation after?
like I'm saying that some of the things that I went through afterwards, I remember there was a rape situation, within the family, and it was on my side of the family, not like my side of the family. I'm talking about the new family that I've adopted, right? Adopted or married, let me call it that. So now there was a rape situation, and I needed to stand with my family. When my family, the one that I've adopted versus my family, like, the one I grew up in, and I needed to lean on this side and say, I'm not going to do it. This is not going to happen. But that, I'm just naming an example. It's building the character out of me to be able to withstand such situation.
Yeah.
So when you look back, you start making sense of it. It's like in a Bible, when you're reading a Bible, when you look back at, let's say, Genesis, for instance, you get to see how the whole genealogy of Jesus came through. You look at it from the back, but when you're still reading it, let's say you didn't know why you were reading about Abraham, for instance, you would not know why Abraham existed in the first place, or why am I reading about Abraham? But when you read about Jesus, you are able to reference it to Abraham and say, Jesus came through the genealogy of Abraham, for instance. So my point being, it's only when you are on the other side that you're able to look back and say, this is the reason why I was going through certain things.
Yeah, sure. Very interesting. And how was it when you were walking this journey with him, right beside him? Because I think there are instances where you have to keep quiet. I think where you just have to ask God, help me guide him. Help me open up his eyes, and when do I talk and when do I not talk? How is that?
I know, I'm never quiet. Okay, but with me, on the other side, it was me just seeing him stand his ground. And I was like, whether the situation that we were in was wrong or right, but I got to see the kind of man that I was marrying. And I knew that this is the man that would always have my back. The fact that he was able to stand and say, this is my family. Because I remember even when his family said, we're not going to come to your graduation. And he said, it's fine, I have my family. And his mother asked, which family? Nami, I was asking, which family?
Yeah.
Because I had not even realized that
Yeah.
I'm his family.
Yeah.
And he said, my wife. And I was like, I had not even seen him as my family. I didn't think I didn't even understand what is a family then. So for me, it was more of, he will always have my back. He will always see me as his family. Even when they said, it's okay, we understand. Let's just do this for a month. We sorted this out. And then he was like, no, she's not going anywhere. So I've always known that the challenges that other people are facing in marriages wherein the husband will always take his side of the family's side over the wife's, I will never have to go through that. Yeah. And even in the 14 years that I've been with him, it has always been like that. I've never felt like I'm alone versus my husband and his family. And it has always been like that. So for me, I saw it on that side. And on the side of him and his family, and his, especially his dad, because it was more of the father that was disappointed. He had a very valid reason. Yeah. I can just imagine if now that I've got kids, they introduce me to their wife. Like, it can never make sense. It's painful.
Yeah.
It hurts. Like, I raised you. I took you to school, and you're going to come back and say, here is my wife. Yeah. It does not make sense. It hurts. And I felt their pain, and I'm just grateful that they came out of it positively, and at the end of the day, everything worked well. But on both parties, it was just painful to watch.
Yeah.
It was not an easy journey, but I was just proud of him that he stood his ground.
That's very interesting, eh?
Yeah.
Is it the same when it also comes to kids, or you had to figure it out from the beginning, raising kids? How does it work, guys? These beautiful people that God blessed us with.
Yeah, we differ in terms of raising them, and certain things that we do, we differ.
He's a strict...
I'm a very strict father or parent. I expect certain things to be to be done, and I expect them to be done properly, And even when it comes to schoolwork, I'm the stricter one. I want things. I have got certain expectations.
Yeah.
So we differ to a certain extent, but we always find common ground at the end of the day. Even if my expectation is this, but sometimes I will sort of soften up so that at the end of the day she does not feel like I'm being too hard. So we always try and find common ground. What do you say?
Yeah, I would say the same, but he's an amazing father. But when we met, the part that I missed out was that we had agreed that we're not gonna have kids. So he told me that, babe, before we actually get married, let's have an agreement. No children. I don't want to have kids. Don't know if he was speaking from the trauma because he comes from a very big family.
Yeah.
But I was speaking from a point because I said I also don't have kids. But I was lying. I said I don't want kids, but because I wanted marriage.
Okay.
So I said, Nami, I don't want kids. But 2 years into the marriage, he was still saying he doesn't want kids. I was trying to play movies with kids, and he would still say, So I had to trick him twice.
Yeah.
And the first time he was like, yeah, God really blessed us, eh? So even when we are using contraceptives, he's still, I'm like, yeah. And I was not using.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah, so even with the second one. So I remember even with the second one, the guy was like, come and see, the baby's here.
Yeah.
He's like, have you closed the tubes? Because we had agreed that, okay, after this one, because God keeps on surprising us, let's just close the tubes.
I love this God.
And the guy was like, come see the baby. He's like, show me when the tubes are closed.
Yeah.
I want to see the tubes closed first,
Yeah.
So the agreement was that we were not going to have kids.
Yeah.
It was wrong of me to trick him, but thank God he loves his kids.
Yeah.
And he got to be a father because before his biological kids, my mother passed away just few months before we actually had our white wedding. So he then adopted my brother, my mother's last born. So he became our first born son.
Yeah.
And he did an amazing job.
How does that work? Blended family. How does that work?
It's tough.
What are the challenges?
It's tough. It's tough. You can imagine I was 23 or 24
Yeah.
at that time, raising a
Your brother-in-law.
12
brother-in-law.
Basically.
Yeah.
But at this time, you're seeing him as your child or as a child?
Correct.
How did you see him at first?
Well, I think I've always seen him as a son on the basis of there was no one. I took the responsibility immediately, and I think my parents told me that you are going to be the father of this child henceforth, And they were just confirming, in fact, that you need to take the responsibility. There's no other way. So I took it as that from that very moment. But it was very challenging. Like when I say that growing up, when I say the challenges of growing up, maturity and stuff like that, I was tested. Like I was tested to the core. Like life tested me to the core in terms of growing up. You're supposed to be a husband, right? You're figuring out the husband
That
part
role.
that you, and I'm not blaming anyone, right? Because all these things were my decisions at the end of the day. But you're figuring out how to be a husband. The next thing, you have to be a father, a father of a 12-year-old. I think 2 years, 3 years down the line, you have a son, right? At work, it's not particularly going so great. I'm not really happy at work, and I'm not earning a lot. And like you have to figure out that part as well. So there were so many things that I needed to be figuring out at the same time. And I made a lot of blunders along the way. But I think one blunder that I tried to make sure that it becomes a positive one was to make sure that he becomes something in life, Even though, I mean, as a father, sometimes you will make mistakes, and maybe where there are certain expectations, you handle it in this particular manner. Because as a father, you're not always right. In as much as I would feel like my father was unfair in many situations, that's how my sons would feel, that my father is unfair in this particular area, area. But it does not mean that I don't have their interest at heart. It just simply means that me and them don't agree in that particular manner. But even when they grow and have their own children, they get to realize that, exactly. So I'd say I made a lot of mistakes along the way, but I took that responsibility with an open heart and open mind.
Oh, very interesting, hey? And Unfortunately, we're running out of time. I hate this so much, but I need to call you guys back again because I have a lot of questions from from what we were talking about, and so I'm just getting the bits and the bits of this. But it's very interesting what you said in terms of I tricked him and I lied to him. I'm sure at some point you saw some attributes of him being a good father, hence why you went with it. And then the other thing is that you also knew that he was answering from probably a point of trauma. But what advice would you give to the ladies out there? You know how it is when we want marriage and we want to be mothers and we want to get second children and no, 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 no. What would you advise the ladies on?
Okay, firstly, don't trick your man. I think it is very important that you have an agreement first.
Yeah.
I respect him for the fact that he was very upfront with me to say that before we get married, this and this I do not want. Unfortunately, I was not faithful enough to say, I actually want this, because there was something bigger that I wanted from him. that if I had said, I actually want children, maybe he was not going to marry me.
Yeah.
But I do feel that it is very important to be honest from the get-go so that you walk the same journey, you walk the same path, having the same goals. But don't rush things. If you can see that this will not work, don't force it. It probably won't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you can see that both of you are probably going to be walking the same journey and it feels right, then do it. And don't be scared to ask for advices.
Yeah.
Normally when people tell you that marriage is not so easy, they know what they're talking about. It's not that they want to stand on your way. They are speaking from experiences.
Yeah.
People normally say, my husband, my boyfriend is not like that. We're not saying he's like that, but
He's a human being.
He's a human being.
Created by God, not you.
Yes. So let's just learn to listen and take advices from those that have probably walked that path.
Yeah. There is reason why they're saying that.
There is reason why they are saying they're not jealous.
Yeah.
Yeah, they wouldn't want to jealous you.
Yeah.
For what? Yeah.
And Pastor Bear, your last words, but before your last words in terms of marriage and advising the people who are not married or the people who are also in marriage, would have you married Ndivho if she said she wants babies?
I don't
That's a
think
good
so
question.
at that time.
Yeah.
I don't think so. If I look back, I wouldn't say so because I definitely did not want kids. But the interesting part is that I did not want to get married in the first place.
Okay.
Like before,
You are confusing us.
like growing up, I said to myself I would never get married. For some
Yeah.
reason, I ended up doing it so early in my life, but it was not in the books
Yeah.
when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I looked at marriage and I'm like, never. Not that I'm seeing anything bad. I think I loved the world more than commitment in a way. So I felt like marriage will not do for me.
Yeah.
But I think I would not have done that at that stage. But obviously, I'm not one to say that because you feel this type of way today, that's how you would have felt at that particular time. I always say that I'm open-minded in terms of how I think, because if you sit here, you can tell me that, let's say, for instance, you're like, if a man does not give me money, I'm not staying with that man. You would be surprised, You'll be surprised sticking with him, and you are the one who is even
Giving him.
like you give him your full salary, and you wonder how does that happen, right?
Yeah,
So I'm one person who is very open-minded to say, don't make a decision before you actually walk the journey. You will make the decision when you have walked that situation, and then you'll be able to make a proper decision. So what I'm saying is that even if I sit here today and say I would not have married her, but I would not know, had she told me that she doesn't want kids, what would I have done at that point in time? Probably I would have went on with the relationship and said, no, I will make sure we don't have kids. You will never know. So that would be my take.
And if you were to advise the world, real.
About
Would you choose marriage over mjolo or mjolo over marriage?
I would say it depends, right, on the stage of your life. Like when you're still walking through certain milestones of your life, there are certain priorities that you have, and priorities differ from person to person. And certain people feel that they want to, depending on their lifestyle, obviously, and their character and personality, you want someone to share your life with, right? At a young age, sometimes at a later age. You want freedom, you want this and that. So it depends on your milestone in terms of where you are in life and how you're thinking. But at the end of the day, if I were to tell someone, I would surely say that marriage is a beautiful place to be. But when you do it, make sure you do it right so that you do not hurt the person that you are in a marriage with, right? Obviously, hurt them, you will hurt them, but intentionally so, and about the things that you're not supposed to really even entertain in your life, right? So be sure about the decision that you want to do before you actually decide to commit to someone. Be sure that this is what I want to do and this is what I would stand for, come rain and sunshine. I am this type of a person. If you know that you are not a commitment person, then don't go there, because it's not going to work.
It's not gonna
Don't
fix
do
you.
something. Yeah, exactly. Don't do something hoping to like, those people that get married. We always talk about them. We say, somebody says, I'm gonna get married to this person, and then they will start being faithful with me. Like, I'm gonna teach them faithfulness. I'm gonna teach them this and this. They will change through me. Don't do that. If you know that you're not that type of a person, then don't even go for it. Don't be hoping for change when you're in a situation. At least make sure that you are a changed person before you can actually tap in there. And yes, you can't predict life in terms of how you're going to feel tomorrow, but be sure about how you feel today and be confident that this is the kind of person that I am. I'll be able to stand for commitment. I'll be able to commit myself to the next person. So marriage is a beautiful place to be. But then again, even I'm sure people that are single can clearly say it to my face that being single is the best place to be. You know, it just depends on where you are in life and what milestone of your life you are in.
That's true. Ndivho, from your side, Mjolo, marriage, which one would you take?
I
The
would
title,
say,
because it's very nice for women. I'm Mrs. Whoever.
I think I would always advocate for marriage. I think it's a beautiful union because you get to grow with a friend. I would say it from where I am, because I have a friend. I've got someone that I'm growing with, and I'm hoping we will grow old together. You're not going to disappoint me.
Why not you disappointing me?
I'll never. Me, never. You are my forever year.
Yo.
No way.
You'll be asking soon, who will be forever?
No. We're going to make sure that we get the right portions for the Corobella. The one that you started with, we're increasing.
But you can already see, I used it on him. On
No,
the
I can
I told you,
see.
even when the mother came,
I can
they
see.
loved you from day one. So I've been
Hey.
using the right one.
Keep on cooking the things, eh?
I'm going to give it to you as well.
Please.
So I would say, if you are a Christian, Mujolo is a no-no. It leads to sin. So rather get your soulmate, get your partner, and grow old, whether you want to have children or not. But just have your person and just grow old together.
Okay.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
And do you still see it as a title, or it means more than that to you?
For me, it means it's more than that. Marriage was created by God. That's why there are so many attacks by the devil. The devil hates marriage. That's why it's not even. I always say that. Mina, the fact that I've been married for 14 years, I see it as an achievement, because it's not easy. Marriage, it's not easy, and just waking up every day, committing to the same person over and over again. Lord have mercy.
Jolo sounds very much better here.
It does. It does, definitely.
No. Mujolo sounds better because you can just have a new person every single day. But is that better?
Yeah.
No, because
No, it
challenges
doesn't.
are the same. It's just you get them from different person, different image. But then you can literally just get better with a person. There's challenges that I had 10 years ago are not the same challenges that I'm having today. The things that we fight over today, we fight about teaspoon. Who's like, he gets angry because I don't want to choose movies on Showmax, but yet I want to watch movies. Those are stupid fights, but that's what we fight over. So, pick your battles.
I like how you put it. Mjolo looks much better, but you're still going to fight with different people.
Yeah.
How about you get much better with the person that you have? Guys, thank you so much. I have so many questions. I am going to invite you again. But I really appreciate how you shared your story. You have a beautiful story.
Thank you.
Continue telling it, continue creating it. It's a very beautiful one, a very interesting one. It reminds me some sorts of my journeys and so forth. But I really hope that the show that we had today, it has played a certain role for people who were about to give up or people who were having second thoughts in marriage, and we were able to, unpack that and be very realistic about it. So I appreciate it. And to my viewers, thank you for joining Tranquil Transformations, TT. We hope that we have fulfilled the aim of the podcast for today, and you must have yourselves a great day further. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.